Undercover boss gets late night burrito bowl, hears waitress use a code phrase, and acts instantly. Marcus Chin hadn't worn a name tag in 12 years. Tonight, it read Mike, in faded blue letters, pinned crooked on a borrowed polo shirt that smelled faintly of bleach and old grease. He stood in line at Rapid Fire Grill, location number 447, watching the clock above the register tick toward 11:53 p.m. 7 minutes until closing. The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting harsh shadows across the empty dining room. This was his fourth undercover visit this month. Portland, Seattle, Denver, and now Sacramento. Same routine everywhere. Slip in unnoticed, observe the real operation, see what corporate never saw from their glass tower in San Francisco. Next! The voice came from behind the counter, sharp and automatic. Marcus stepped forward. The woman at the register looked about 25, dark circles under her eyes, blonde hair pulled back so tight it seemed to stretch her face. Her name tag said Emma. She held her scanner like a weapon, thumb hovering over the buttons with the mechanical precision of someone who'd done this 10,000 times. Burrito bowl, Marcus said. White rice, black beans. Protein? Emma's eyes didn't leave the screen. Chicken. Light on the... A phone buzzed. Emma's hand jerked toward her pocket, then stopped. She glanced over her shoulder at the kitchen where a manager was wiping down the grill. The buzzing stopped. Her jaw tightened. Sorry. Light on the what? Cheese. Extra pico de gallo. Her fingers flew across the register. Professional. Efficient. But Marcus noticed something else. The way she positioned herself at an angle to the door. The way her eyes flicked to the window every few seconds. The way her left hand stayed near her phone. He built a company on noticing details others missed. That'll be $1,147. Marcus handed her a 20. As she opened the register, her phone buzzed again. This time she couldn't stop herself from looking. The color drained from her face. Everything okay? Marcus asked. Fine. The word came out too fast. She handed him his change, fingers trembling slightly. Your bowl will be ready in a few minutes. Marcus moved to the pickup counter and watched. Emma spoke quietly to the kitchen staff, a teenage kid with headphones and an older man who barely looked up. She wrapped her arms around herself despite the warm kitchen air. Her phone buzzed a third time. She didn't check it. The front door opened. Marcus turned. A man walked in. Mid-30s, denim jacket, boots that clicked against the tile. He didn't get in line. Just stood near the entrance, hands in his pockets, staring at Emma. Emma's entire body went rigid. The manager, a balding guy in his 40s whose name tag read Derek, looked up from his clipboard. We're about to close, man. Just waiting for someone, the man said. His voice was pleasant. Casual. But he didn't move. Emma turned away and grabbed Marcus's bowl from the kitchen window. Her hands shook as she carried it to the counter. She set it down carefully, then looked directly at Marcus for the first time. Her eyes were wide, pupils dilated, breath shallow. Would you like the blue sauce on the side? The world stopped. Marcus's blood went ice cold. They didn't serve blue sauce. They never had. Rapid Fire Grill's signature sauces were red, green, and gold. Every employee knew that. But Marcus knew something else. 7 years ago, during a company safety workshop after an incident at a Chicago location, Marcus had personally helped develop emergency protocols. Code phrases. Ways for employees to signal danger without alerting potential threats. The phrase had been inspired by a consultant who'd worked with domestic violence shelters. Blue sauce. It meant, I am not safe. I cannot speak freely. I need help right now. Marcus had implemented it across all 1,200 locations. Mandatory training. Annual refreshers. He'd hoped no one would ever need to use it. Emma's eyes pleaded with him silently. Please understand. Please help. Marcus's mind raced. He glanced at the man by the door, still watching, still waiting. He looked at Derek, who was oblivious, checking his watch and muttering about inventory counts. 7 years of protocols. Hundreds of training sessions. Thousands of dollars invested. All for this moment. Marcus kept his voice steady, almost bored. Yeah, sure. Blue sauce on the side sounds good. Emma's shoulders dropped half an inch. Relief flooded her face, followed immediately by something else, hope mixed with terror. I'll grab that for you, she whispered. She disappeared into the back. Marcus heard her voice, muffled, speaking quickly to someone. The teenage kid looked confused. Derek was still focused on his clipboard. The man by the door shifted his weight, checked his phone, looked back at Emma's empty station. Marcus pulled out his own phone, turning slightly away. His fingers moved with practiced efficiency, opening the encrypted app that only 5 people in the company had access to. The emergency protocol interface appeared, red and black, designed for speed. Location: Rapid Fire Grill number 447, Sacramento, California. Code: Blue Sauce. Officer Identifier: CO001. Status: Active threat. He hit send. Somewhere in San Francisco, an emergency coordinator's phone would explode with alerts. Within 60 seconds, the company's security team would contact local police. Within 3 minutes, units would be dispatched. But 3 minutes was a long time. Emma returned with his bowl, a small container of actual salsa verde placed beside it, the closest thing they had to blue sauce. She met his eyes again. Thank you for visiting, she said, each word deliberate. Have a safe night. Safe. She'd emphasized that word. Marcus understood. The threat wasn't over. It was ongoing. Personal. He picked up his bowl and turned toward the dining area. The man by the door watched him sit down. Marcus opened the container, took a bite, and did what any normal customer would do. He ate slowly. He stayed. And he waited for the sirens that Emma couldn't hear yet but desperately needed to come. Outside the window, Marcus noticed something that made his stomach turn. A silver sedan was parked directly in front of Emma's beat-up Honda Civic, blocking it in. The man by the door smiled. Emma saw it too. Her phone buzzed again. Marcus took another bite of his burrito bowl, forcing himself to chew slowly. Every instinct screamed at him to act, but years of business negotiations had taught him patience. Premature moves destroyed deals. They could also destroy lives. Through the window's reflection, he watched the man lean against the silver sedan. Casual. Comfortable. Like he'd done this before. Emma moved behind the counter with jerky, mechanical motions. She wiped down surfaces that were already clean. Reorganized napkin dispensers that didn't need reorganizing. Anything to look busy. Anything to avoid closing time. Derek finally looked up from his clipboard. Emma, start breaking down the salsa bar. We're 3 minutes past close. There's still a customer. Her voice was tight. He's almost done. Derek gestured at Marcus. Come on, I want to be out of here by midnight. Marcus checked his phone under the table. 2 minutes since he'd sent the alert. Police response time in this district averaged 6 to 8 minutes for non-emergency calls. But he'd flagged it as priority. Possible stalking situation, employee safety compromised. Still, it would take time. The teenage kid had already disappeared into the back, his shift apparently over. That left just Emma, Derek, and Marcus in the dining area. The man outside pulled out his phone, typed something, then looked directly at the window. At Emma. Emma's phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it, and went pale. Who keeps texting you? Derek asked, annoyed. Personal stuff can wait until after close. It's nothing. Doesn't look like nothing. You've been jumpy all week. I said it's nothing. Emma's voice cracked slightly. Marcus stood up, his bowl still half full. He walked to the counter, moving deliberately slow. Excuse me, is the bathroom available? Emma looked at him with desperate gratitude. Down the hall, last door on the left. As Marcus passed behind the counter, employees only, but Derek barely glanced up, Emma whispered so quietly he almost missed it. He's been following me for 3 weeks. Marcus nodded once, imperceptibly, and continued to the bathroom. Once inside, he called the emergency coordinator directly. Mr. Chin? A woman's voice, alert and professional. We've dispatched local PD, ETA 4 minutes. Subject is outside, blocking employee's vehicle. She's trapped. Manager is unaware of the situation. Understood. I'm staying on this line. Officers have been instructed to approach without lights or sirens to avoid escalation. Good. Marcus flushed the toilet for authenticity. Employee indicated this has been ongoing for weeks. Check if there are prior reports filed at this location. Already pulling records now. Mr. Chen, there are 3 incident reports from this employee over the past month. All flagged as employee concern but marked low priority by regional management. Marcus's jaw clenched. Names of who marked them low priority. Regional Manager Scott Patterson and the shift manager currently on duty, Derek Simmons. Everything clicked into place. Emma had asked for help. Multiple times. And Derek had buried it. Send me everything, Marcus said quietly. And make sure the responding officers know there's a history here. Already done. 2 minutes out. Marcus washed his hands, buying time. Through the thin walls, he heard Derek's voice rising. Emma, I don't care if you're scared of your ex-boyfriend or whatever this is. That's not a work problem. Lock your doors at home, get a restraining order, I don't know. But we close at midnight and it's 12:04. I'm not paying overtime because of your drama. He's not my ex. Emma's voice was small. I don't even know him. Then call the cops yourself. I've got inventory at 6 a.m. Marcus dried his hands and walked back out. Derek was already heading to the back office, keys jingling. Emma stood frozen at the register, staring at the man outside who was now walking slowly toward the entrance. The door chimed as he pushed it open. Sorry, we're closed, Emma said automatically, voice shaking. I know. The man smiled. I'm just making sure you get to your car safe. Dangerous neighborhood at night. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look scared. He took a step closer. I can give you a ride. Your car's blocked in anyway. Emma backed up against the counter. Please leave. Emma, right? That's a pretty name. You know, I think we'd be really good together if you just give me a chance. She asked you to leave? Marcus stepped between them, his voice level but firm. The man's smile disappeared. This doesn't concern you. Actually, it does. Outside, red and blue lights appeared in the distance, silent but approaching fast. The man noticed them and his expression changed, from predatory confidence to something darker. Cornered. You called the cops? He looked at Emma, then at Marcus, then back at the approaching patrol cars. You actually called the cops? I was just being friendly. 2 officers entered quickly, hands near their belts. Sir, we need you to step outside. What happened next happened fast. The man bolted for the back exit. 1 officer followed while the other stayed with Emma, who finally broke down, sliding to the floor behind the counter. Derek emerged from the office, confused and angry. What the hell is going on? Marcus looked at him with cold fury. We need to talk. The second officer returned 3 minutes later, slightly out of breath. Got him. He tried to jump the fence behind the dumpsters. Emma sat on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, makeup streaked down her face. The first officer, a woman named Rodriguez according to her badge, crouched beside her, speaking in low, calm tones. Derek stood near the register, arms crossed, looking more inconvenienced than concerned. So can we finish closing now, or? Marcus felt rage coil in his chest, but he kept his expression neutral. Mike, the line cook wouldn't confront a manager. Not yet. Ma'am, how long has this individual been following you? Rodriguez asked Emma. 3 weeks. Maybe longer, Emma's voice was hoarse. I first noticed him a month ago. He'd come in right before close, order nothing, just watch me. Then he started waiting outside. Then I saw him at the grocery store. At the laundromat. He He knows where I live. Have you filed any reports? I tried. Emma looked at Derek. I told Derek 3 times. Filled out the incident forms. Nothing happened. Derek's face reddened. I forwarded those to corporate. It's not my job to. You mark them as employee personal issue, Rodriguez said, checking her phone. Dispatch just sent me the records. All 3 flagged as non-urgent. Because it was personal. He never did anything inside the restaurant, never threatened anyone. I can't be expected to manage everyone's relationship problems. He's not my relationship, Emma said quietly. I've never spoken to him outside of taking his order. I don't know his name. I don't know where he lives. He's a stranger who won't leave me alone. Rodriguez's expression hardened. That's called stalking, and yes, it absolutely is a workplace safety issue when it happens at work. Marcus pulled out his phone, pretending to check messages. In reality, he was documenting everything. Names, times, statements. Evidence. The second officer came back inside. Suspect is secured in the vehicle. Found 37 photos of the employee on his phone. Multiple videos of her walking to her car. Text drafts that were never sent. Very concerning content. Emma made a small sound, somewhere between a sob and a gasp. We're taking him in, Rodriguez said. Stalking, harassment, possible trespassing charges. Ma'am, I need you to come to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement. Will I be safe? Emma's voice cracked. He knows where I live. We're going to hold him at least 72 hours for evaluation. In the meantime, I strongly recommend you stay with a friend or family member. Do you have somewhere you can go? Emma nodded slowly. My sister's place. She's in Roseville. Good. Don't go home tonight. We'll have a unit do a drive-by of your apartment, but I want you somewhere else. Derek checked his watch. So are we done here? I really need to lock up. Rodriguez stood, her professional mask slipping for just a second. You know, I've seen a lot of managers in situations like this. The good ones protect their people. The bad ones worry about overtime. Derek's face went purple. I run a tight ship. If that's a problem, sir, I'm going to recommend you speak with your corporate office about proper safety protocols. Your employee could have been hurt or worse because reports were ignored. Rodriguez handed Emma a card. Call me if you need anything. We'll be in touch tomorrow. The officers left with their suspect. Through the window, Marcus watched them load the man into the patrol car. He was shouting something, face twisted with rage. Emma stood up slowly, wiping her face. I need to get my stuff. Take tomorrow off, Derek said gruffly. I'll find coverage. I need the hours. Emma, just take the day. Okay? For the first time, Derek looked uncomfortable. Almost guilty. Get some rest. Emma gathered her purse and jacket from the back room. Marcus picked up his mostly uneaten bowl and threw it away, timing his exit to match hers. Outside, the patrol car pulled away. Emma stood staring at her Honda Civic, still blocked in by the silver sedan. That's his car, she said to no one in particular. I can't even leave. I'll call a tow truck, Derek muttered, already on his phone. Marcus made a decision. I can give you a ride. My car's just around the corner. Emma looked at him, really looked at him for the first time. You understood. The blue sauce thing. You actually knew what it meant. I did. No one else. No one else has ever. She trailed off, eyes filling with tears again. You don't have to thank me, Marcus said gently. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. The system worked because you were brave enough to use it. Emma laughed bitterly. The system didn't work. You worked. If you hadn't been here tonight. She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't have to. Derek finished his call. Tow truck's coming. 20 minutes. Marcus looked at Emma. My offer stands. I'm headed north anyway. Emma hesitated only a second. Okay. Thank you. As they walked to his rental car, Marcus glanced back at Derek, who was finally locking up the restaurant. Tomorrow, Derek would discover that Mike, the customer, was actually Marcus Chin, CEO and founder of Rapid Fire Grill. Tonight, he just discovered that his career was over. Marcus didn't sleep. At 3:47 a.m., he sat in his hotel room at the Marriott downtown, laptop open, 3 empty coffee cups beside him. The drive to Emma's sister's house in Roseville had been quiet. Emma had thanked him 6 times, apologized twice for causing trouble, and made him promise not to mention the incident to corporate because she couldn't afford to lose this job. He'd promised nothing. Now, bathed in the blue glow of his screen, Marcus scrolled through 7 years of internal reports from location number 447. What he found made his stomach turn. Emma Bridger. Age 26. 3 years with the company. Promoted to shift lead after 18 months. Consistently high performance reviews. Never late, never called in sick, picked up extra shifts when others needed coverage. Model employee. Her first incident report was dated October 23, 4 weeks ago. Incident report hashtag 447-1023-01. Employee, Emma Bridger. Submitted to Derek Simmons, shift manager. Description. A male customer has been coming in repeatedly near closing time. He doesn't order food, just watches me work. When I asked if he needed help, he said he was making sure I stayed safe. It makes me uncomfortable. Request that another employee handle his orders if he returns. Manager response. Customer has not violated any policies or made threats. Employee advised to remain professional. Status closed. Marcus's jaw tightened. He clicked the next report. Incident report hashtag 447-1106-02. Employee, Emma Bridger. Submitted to Derek Simmons, shift manager. Description. The same customer followed me to my car last night. He told me he notices everything about me and asked where I live. I'm genuinely scared. Please help. Manager response. Personal disputes between employees and customers outside of business hours are not company liability. Employee advised to contact local police if she feels threatened. Forwarded to regional manager for awareness. Status closed. The third report was dated just 8 days ago. Incident report hashtag 447-1209-03. Employee, Emma Bridger. Submitted to Derek Simmons, shift manager. Description. He knows where I live. I saw him parked outside my apartment complex twice this week. He's sent my work phone 17 messages through the online order system, all saved and documented. I'm attaching screenshots. I'm begging someone to take this seriously. I don't feel safe closing alone anymore. Manager response. Employee displays pattern of dramatic behavior and attention seeking. Customer messages reviewed. Content is complimentary, not threatening. No policy violations observed. Employee counseled on professional boundaries and maintaining composure. Regional Manager Patterson concurs. Status closed, and no further action. Marcus sat back, breathing hard. Derek hadn't just ignored the warnings. He'd actively dismissed them. Worse, he documented Emma as the problem. He pulled up Regional Manager Scott Patterson's file. 16 years with the company. Solid numbers. Low turnover in his district. But as Marcus dug deeper, a pattern emerged. Patterson's region had the lowest number of reported safety incidents in the entire company. Not because it was safer. Because reports were being systematically labeled employee personal issues and closed without investigation. Marcus found 11 other cases across Patterson's 6 locations. Different employees. Same pattern. Complaints buried, victims blamed, problems categorized as drama. His phone buzzed. An email from his head of security, sent to his personal account. Subject: Sacramento Incident Background Check Results. Marcus ran the suspect from tonight. His name is Justin Howell, 34. No prior arrests, but we found some concerning data. 14 different women have filed restraining orders against him in 3 states over 8 years. None resulted in charges because he's careful about staying just within legal boundaries. 3 separate employers, including 2 restaurants, fired him for harassment. Multiple online profiles under fake names, all following service industry workers. This wasn't opportunistic. He's a serial stalker who targets young women in hospitality jobs. He knows they work late, often alone, and can't easily escape customer interactions. Emma wasn't his first victim at Rapid Fire. Found evidence he'd been to 4 other locations in California over the past year, always showing unusual interest in female staff. Corporate should have caught this if anyone had been paying attention. J. Martinez, Security Director. Marcus closed his laptop and walked to the window. Sacramento was still dark, streetlights casting orange pools on empty sidewalks. Somewhere in the city, Emma was probably awake too, jumping at every sound. She'd done everything right. Used the emergency protocol. Filed reports. Asked for help. And the system had failed her anyway. Not because the system was broken, Marcus had designed it well, but because the people implementing it had decided paperwork mattered more than safety. That inconvenience mattered more than lives. Derek Simmons had 3 documented chances to protect an employee. Scott Patterson had oversight of 11 cases across his region. Both had chosen comfort over courage. Marcus pulled out his phone and composed an email to his executive team. Subject line: Emergency board meeting tomorrow 9 a.m. The message was brief. We have a systemic failure in our employee safety protocols. It nearly cost someone her life last night. I'm invoking executive authority to implement immediate changes. Attendance mandatory. Non-negotiable. Marcus. He hit send at 4:33 a.m. Outside, the sky was just beginning to lighten. Marcus had built Rapid Fire Grill from a single food truck 13 years ago. He'd survived recessions, competition, and a kitchen fire that nearly bankrupted him. But he'd never felt like a failure until tonight. That was about to change. Emma's phone alarm went off at 2 p.m. She'd managed 3 hours of sleep on her sister's couch, fully clothed, with a kitchen knife on the coffee table. Old habits from a childhood she tried not to think about. You're awake. Rachel appeared in the doorway, holding a mug of tea. Her sister was 32, a dental hygienist with 2 kids at school and a husband who worked construction. Safe. Normal. Everything Emma wanted and couldn't seem to reach. Barely, Emma sat up, her neck stiff. What time do you have to pick up the kids? Not until 3:30. I called work, told them I had a family emergency. Rachel handed her the tea. How are you feeling? Like I'm losing my mind. Emma's hands shook as she took the mug. He's in jail, right? The police said 72 hours minimum? That's what they said. But then what? He gets out and he knows I called the cops. He knows I. Her voice cracked. Rachel, he had 37 photos of me. He's been watching me for weeks and I didn't even realize how bad it was. Rachel sat beside her. You did realize. You reported it 3 times. And no one cared. That guy last night cared. Mike, or whatever his name was. Emma thought about the stranger who'd understood a code phrase that Derek hadn't even remembered existed. Who'd stayed when he could have left. Who'd driven 40 minutes out of his way to make sure she got somewhere safe. He was different, Emma said quietly. He actually listened. Her phone buzzed. Emma jumped, tea sloshing over the rim of her mug. Unknown number. I know you're scared. But I can explain everything. Give me a chance. Emma's blood went cold. He's texting me. Rachel, he's texting me from jail. Rachel grabbed the phone, read the message, and immediately called the number Officer Rodriguez had given them. While she talked to the police, Emma stood and walked to the window, careful to stay behind the curtain. The street looked normal. Parked cars. A jogger passing by. A silver sedan 3 houses down. Wait. Emma's heart stopped. She stepped closer to the window, hands trembling. It was a different silver sedan. Not his. Just a common car in a common color. but her brain screamed danger anyway. "They're tracking it," Rachel said, hanging up. "He's using a contraband phone someone smuggled in, or he gave someone else your number. They're working on it. He has other people helping him?" Emma felt the walls closing in. "Rachel, if he has friends, if there are more of them." "Stop. You're spiraling." "I'm being realistic." Emma's voice rose. "The police can hold him for 3 days, maybe a week. Then what? He knows where I work. Where I live. He's been inside my apartment complex. Even if I move, even if I quit my job, he found me once. He'll find me again." She'd seen this story before. Her mother, running from Emma's father for 3 years. New cities, new names, new schools. It never mattered. He always found them. Until the night he didn't just follow her mother home, he broke down the door. Emma was 9 years old when she learned that restraining orders were just paper. "I'm going to quit," Emma said suddenly. "Today. I'll call Derek and tell him I'm done." "You love that job." "I love being alive more." Rachel was quiet for a moment. "What if you didn't have to choose?" "There's no choice. He knows where I work. That's not safe anymore." "What if they made it safe? What if corporate actually did something?" Emma laughed bitterly. "Corporate doesn't care. I filed 3 reports. Derek made me sound like a crazy person looking for attention. My regional manager agreed with him. The company doesn't care about people like me, we're replaceable. That guy last night wasn't replaceable. He knew that code phrase. He took it seriously. He was one person, Rachel. One random customer who happened to know something most employees don't even remember. That's not a system. That's luck." Emma's phone buzzed again. Unknown number. "I just wanted to know you better. Why are you doing this to me?" Then another message. Unknown number. "You're making a mistake. I would have treated you like a queen." And another. Unknown number. "I see your sister drives a blue Honda Odyssey. License plate 7TFK392. Nice family she has." Emma dropped the phone like it had burned her. "He's watching us right now," she whispered. "Rachel, he's here." Rachel grabbed her keys. "We're leaving. Now. Get your stuff. Where are we going to go? He found us here in less than a day." "I don't know, but we're not staying." Emma felt something inside her break. The hope that had flickered last night when the police came, when Mike had understood, when someone finally believed her, it gutted out like a candle. This was her life now. Running. Hiding. Looking over her shoulder until he got bored or got caught or got close enough to. Her phone rang. Not a text this time. An actual call. Unknown number. Emma stared at it, paralyzed. "Don't answer," Rachel said. But Emma's hand moved on its own. She needed to know. Needed to hear his voice so she could measure the threat, calculate the danger, prepare for what came next. She answered. But the voice that came through wasn't Justin Howells. "Emma Bridger? This is Marcus Chin. We need to talk about what happened last night." Emma's confusion lasted only a second before the name registered. Marcus Chin. The CEO of Rapid Fire Grill. The man who'd ordered a burrito bowl at midnight wasn't named Mike at all. Emma stood frozen, phone pressed to her ear, the world tilting sideways. What? Marcus Chin? As in, CEO of Rapid Fire Grill. Yes, his voice was calm, steady, the same voice that had said blue sauce on the side sounds good just 12 hours ago. "I apologize for the deception. I visit locations undercover periodically to observe actual operations. Last night, I was at your restaurant." Emma sank onto the couch. Rachel watched, confused and concerned. "You were the customer. Mike. You understood the code phrase. I helped create it 7 years ago. Emma, I need you to listen carefully. You're receiving threatening messages right now, aren't you? How did you? Because I've spent the last 8 hours reviewing everything. The messages, the police reports, your incident filings, all of it. I know Justin Howell is contacting you from jail. I know he's threatened your sister's family. And I know you're terrified. Emma's throat tightened. Then you also know running is my only option. No. It's not. Marcus's voice hardened. I'm at location number 447 right now with corporate security, HR, and a team of lawyers. Derek Simmons has been suspended effective immediately, pending termination. Regional Manager Scott Patterson is being placed on administrative leave. We're filing a lawsuit against Justin Howell, and we're coordinating with Sacramento PD to pursue the maximum possible charges. Emma couldn't breathe. Why would you do all that? Because you're my employee and you asked for help 3 times. You did everything right. We failed you. He paused. And because what happened to you is happening in other locations. This is systemic, Emma. It stops today. I don't understand. Companies don't. CEOs don't. This one does. I built Rapid Fire Grill on the principle that people matter more than profit. Somewhere along the way, managers like Derek forgot that. I'm here to remind them. There was a sound in the background, raised voices, Derek's voice specifically, saying something about overreaction and legal process. Marcus's voice moved away from the phone. Mr. Simmons, you have 2 options. You can leave voluntarily with a severance package, or security can escort you out and you leave with nothing. Choose now. Silence. Then footsteps. A door slamming. Marcus returned to the call. Sorry. Where were we? Emma felt something loosening in her chest, the knot of fear that had been strangling her for weeks. Not gone, but smaller. You're really doing this. You're actually firing him. I've already fired him. HR is processing the paperwork now. Marcus's tone softened slightly. Emma, I need to ask you something important. Do you want to keep working for this company? The question hit her like cold water. I don't know. I thought I had to quit. You don't have to do anything. If you want to walk away, I'll provide 3 months severance and an excellent reference. If you want to transfer to another location far from here, I'll arrange it today. If you want to stay at number 447, I'll personally ensure every safety protocol is upgraded and enforced. What about Justin? He'll be out in 3 days. Actually, no. I spoke with the district attorney an hour ago. With the evidence, the photos, videos, prior restraining orders in other states, and the threats he sent this morning, they're filing felony stalking charges. He's looking at 6 months to 3 years. And our legal team is pursuing a civil restraining order that covers all rapid-fire locations nationwide. If he comes within 500 feet of any of our restaurants, he goes back to jail immediately. Emma started crying. Not from fear this time, but from a relief so overwhelming she couldn't contain it. Rachel grabbed her hand. Em? What's happening? He's fixing it, Emma whispered. He's actually fixing everything, Marcus continued. I'm also implementing new protocols company-wide. Mandatory safety training for all managers, real training, not checkbox exercises. A direct hotline to corporate security that bypasses regional management. And I'm hiring an external firm to audit every location for ignored complaints. Anyone who buried reports like Derek did will be terminated. When? Emma managed to ask. The hotline goes live tomorrow. Training starts next week. Audits begin immediately. He paused. Emma, I'm asking you to come back to number 447 today. Not to work, to meet with me and the team. I want you to tell your story to the people who should have protected you. Can you do that? Every instinct screamed to hide, to stay on her sister's couch, to never go near that restaurant again. But another part of her, the part that had survived her father, that had filed 3 reports even when no one listened, that had been brave enough to use a code phrase she barely remembered, that part said yes. I'll come, she said. But I'm bringing my sister. Bring whoever makes you feel safe. I'll be here. After hanging up, Emma sat in stunned silence. Rachel broke it. Did the CEO of your company just personally fire your manager? Yes. Because he happened to be undercover at your restaurant last night? Yes. Rachel shook her head slowly. Emma, I don't think that was coincidence. Emma looked at her phone, at Marcus Chen's number still on the screen. Rachel was right. Food company CEOs didn't randomly visit locations at midnight. They didn't just happen to be there during emergencies. You think he came because of my reports? I think someone finally paid attention. For the first time in weeks, Emma felt something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. The restaurant looked different in daylight. Emma had always worked evenings and nights, closing shifts that left her walking to her car in darkness. Now, at 4 p.m. on a Tuesday, sunlight streamed through the windows. The dining room was empty except for 5 people seated at a table near the back. Marcus Chen stood when she entered. He looked different too, no borrowed polo, no fake name tag. Just a crisp button-down and the kind of presence that came from owning a room without trying. Emma. Thank you for coming. He gestured to the others. This is Jennifer Kwan, VP of Human Resources. Sam Torres, Head of Corporate Security. Lisa Park, our General Counsel. And this is Officer Rodriguez, she asked to be here. Emma's hand found Rachel's. Her sister squeezed back. Please sit. Marcus pulled out a chair. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee? Water's fine. Emma's voice came out smaller than she intended. Sam poured from a pitcher while Marcus sat across from her, his expression serious but not unkind. I want to start by apologizing, he said. You trusted this company to keep you safe. You followed the proper channels. You documented everything. And we failed you completely. That failure is on me. You weren't even here, Emma said quietly. I built the system. I hired the managers. I created the culture that allowed Derek Simmons to dismiss 3 urgent safety reports as drama that makes it my failure. Marcus slid a folder across the table. This is everything we've done in the last 12 hours. I want you to see it. Emma opened the folder with shaking hands. The first document was Derek's termination letter. Effective immediately. Cause: gross negligence in employee safety protocols resulting in endangerment. The second was a letter to Scott Patterson, the regional manager. Suspended without pay, pending investigation. If the audit confirmed he'd systematically buried safety complaints, he'd be terminated too. The third document made Emma's breath catch. A restraining order, granted that morning, barring Justin Howell from coming within 500 feet of any rapid-fire grill location nationwide. Violation would result in immediate arrest. The DA charged him with felony stalking this morning, Officer Rodriguez said. With his history across 3 states, he's not getting bail. He'll be in custody until trial, which could take 6 months. And when he's convicted, not if, when, he's looking at mandatory 3 years minimum. 3 years? Emma whispered. That's real time. It's what he deserves. Rodriguez's voice was hard. And Emma, I owe you an apology too. When you first called non-emergency last month, your call was logged but never escalated. We failed you just like your employer did. That's changing in our department as well. Jennifer Kwan leaned forward. Emma, we've reviewed every incident report filed across all locations for the past 3 years. We found 47 cases similar to yours. Employees reporting harassment, stalking, or safety concerns that were dismissed, downplayed, or buried by management. 47? Emma felt sick. Most weren't as severe as your situation, but that doesn't make them acceptable. We're reaching out to every employee involved. Offering support, counseling, legal assistance if needed. And we're investigating every manager who marked those reports as resolved without action. Marcus picked up where she left off. We're also implementing new policies effective Monday. First, a 24/7 hotline that bypasses regional management entirely. It goes straight to corporate security and HR. Second, mandatory quarterly safety audits at every location. Third, any manager who receives a safety complaint must document specific actions taken within 72 hours, or face immediate review. We're also adding visible security features. Sam Torres said. Panic buttons at every register. Camera coverage of all parking areas. And for closing shifts, employees will never be alone. Minimum 2 people until everyone is safely off the property. Emma looked around the table at these people, powerful people she'd only seen in company newsletters, who'd dropped everything to fix what was broken. "Why are you doing all this?" she asked. "I'm nobody. I make burrito bowls for $1,650 an hour." Marcus's expression shifted to something fierce. "You're not nobody. You're exactly who this company exists to protect. Every employee, from the newest line cook to the VP sitting next to me, deserves to feel safe at work. That's not negotiable. But it must cost so much. The lawyers, the security upgrades, the training. Emma, last year we spent $23 million on a marketing campaign. This year, we're spending $4 million on safety improvements." Marcus met her eyes. "I'd rather have 47 employees who feel safe than a clever commercial. Wouldn't you?" Emma nodded, unable to speak. Lisa Park, who'd been quiet until now, slid another document across the table. "This is for you. Medical leave, fully paid, for as long as you need. When you're ready to return, if you're ready, we have options. Stay at number 447 with upgraded security. Transfer to any location in California. Or work with corporate on implementing these new safety protocols at other stores." "You want me to help with training?" Emma asked, surprised. "You understand this issue better than anyone. Your voice matters." Rachel squeezed Emma's hand again. "Take the time off, Em. Process everything." Emma looked at the documents, at the people around the table, at Marcus Chin, who'd driven 40 minutes at midnight to make sure she got somewhere safe. "I want to help," Emma said. "Not right now. But soon. Other employees need to know that someone's listening." Marcus smiled, genuinely smiled, for the first time since she'd arrived. "Then we'll be ready when you are." 6 weeks later. Emma pushed through the glass doors of Rapid Fire Grill number 447 at 10:47 p.m., 13 minutes before the late-night rush would taper off. The restaurant looked the same tables, same menu boards, same smell of grilled chicken and cilantro lime rice. But everything was different. A security guard named Ray sat near the entrance, nodding as she passed. Not obvious, not intimidating. Just present. He'd be there until the last employee left the parking lot. Behind the counter, 2 new faces worked alongside Maria, who'd transferred from the Stockton location to take Derek's position as shift manager. Maria looked up and grinned. "Emma! You're early. Wanted to beat the crowd." Emma tied her apron on, muscle memory taking over. It felt strange and familiar at once, like coming home after a long trip. She'd spent 4 weeks on medical leave, most of it in therapy processing not just Justin Howell, but everything he'd triggered from her childhood. The nightmares had lessened. The hypervigilance remained, but Dr. Santos said that might take months or years. Healing wasn't linear. Week 5, she'd started working with Jennifer Kwan's team, helping redesign the safety training program. Standing in corporate conference rooms, telling her story to regional managers who'd flown in from 12 states. Watching their faces shift from defensive to horrified to determined. Some had been fired. Others had resigned. A few, the ones who genuinely hadn't understood, had stayed and learned. Week 6, Emma had made a decision. She wanted to come back to number 447. Not because she had to, but because running meant Justin Howell still won. "Table 7 needs a pickup," Maria called out. "Welcome back." Emma grabbed the bowl and delivered it to a young couple who barely looked up from their phones. Normal. Boring. Perfect. The door chimed. Emma's hand instinctively went to the panic button now installed under the counter, small, red, silent. Press it, and police were notified within 30 seconds. She tested it during training. It worked. But it was just a family of 4. The mother looked exhausted. The kids were arguing about toppings. Emma exhaled and took their order. At 11:30, the crowd thinned. By 11:45, only 2 customers remained, college students studying with laptops and headphones. Maria started the closing checklist. The new kid, Tyler, broke down the salsa bar. Everything by protocol now. Emma wiped down tables and thought about the text she'd received that morning from Officer Rodriguez. Verdict came in. Justin Howell, guilty on all counts. Sentenced to 4 years, eligible for parole after 3 with good behavior. Mandatory counseling and lifetime restraining order. He won't bother you again. 4 years. It wasn't forever, but it was enough time for Emma to build a life he couldn't touch. Maybe go back to school. Maybe move to a new city. Maybe just exist without looking over her shoulder every 5 seconds. The college students left at 11:53. Emma locked the door behind them and flipped the sign to closed. All right, let's get out of here, Maria said. Tyler, you're with me. Emma, you're with Ray. No one walks alone. The new protocol. Simple, obvious, and something that should have existed from day one. They finished closing in 20 minutes. Emma grabbed her jacket and stepped outside where Ray was waiting by his security vehicle, a white SUV with subtle company logos. Ready? He asked. Actually, yeah. Emma smiled. I am. Ray followed her to her car, not the old Honda Civic, which she'd sold, but a newer Corolla that didn't have any memories attached. He waited while she started the engine, checked her back seat, locked the doors. As Emma pulled out of the parking lot, she saw Maria and Tyler leaving together in Maria's truck. Ray would wait until both vehicles were gone before doing his final sweep of the property. Emma's phone buzzed at a red light. A text from Rachel. How was your first night back? Emma typed with one hand. Good. Really good, actually. Proud of you, Em. The light turned green. Emma drove through the quiet Sacramento streets, past the apartment complex she no longer lived in, toward her new place closer to Rachel's house. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Marcus Chin. Jennifer told me you were back tonight. How did it go? Emma pulled into her parking spot before responding. It felt right. Thank you for making it possible. His response came quickly. You made it possible. You were brave enough to ask for help. I just made sure someone was listening. Emma sat in her car for a moment, engine off, looking at those words. Someone was listening. 4 years, first with her father, then with Justin, Emma had screamed into voids. Filed reports that disappeared. Asked for help that never came. She'd learned that the world didn't care about girls like her. That safety was a privilege, not a right. Marcus Chin had proven her wrong. Not with empty promises or corporate platitudes, but with action. With firings and funding and fundamental change. With the understanding that one person's fear mattered more than 100 people's convenience. Emma locked her car and walked to her apartment. No one followed. No silver sedan lurked in the shadows. No messages lit up her phone with threats disguised as compliments. Just a quiet Tuesday night in December. Inside, Emma made tea and sat on her couch, her own couch, in her own place, bought with the raise Marcus had quietly included in her return-to-work package. She pulled out her laptop and opened the document she'd been working on. Employee Safety Training Module, Recognizing and Responding to Threats. By Emma Bridger. She'd present it to 1,200 locations over the next 6 months. Her face on video screens, her voice in training rooms, her story reaching line cooks and cashiers and managers who needed to understand that blue sauce on the side wasn't just a phrase. It was a promise. We're listening. We believe you. We'll help. Emma typed until midnight, then closed her laptop and turned off the lights. Tomorrow, she'd work another closing shift. And the night after that. And the one after that. Not because she had to. Because the restaurant that had once been the center of her nightmare had become something else entirely. A place where she was safe. A place where she mattered. A place where, if she ever needed to say those words again, someone would be listening. The end.